Well, I'd like to welcome you to another segment of McClung Farms. This is our apple juice segment from a previous video where we showed you how we grind crush apples and make juice. So we're taking juice from that video segment. We have put it in one of our large pickle jars and simply refrigerated it. You don't want to leave it in there too long because it'll turn hard. It'll be hard cider, and that won't do us any good. So with that being said, we will measure out the amount of juice we need based on our sugar gel recipe. Add butter to keep our foam down, and of course sugar. Everything runs off sugar. So I'll prepare these ingredients and place them in the pot, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so since we're using apple juice that's come straight out of the press there, we want to make sure, just for food sanitation purposes, that we make a clean product. We don't want floaters or pieces of wood or even pieces of apple in our jelly. We want a really clean, really clear jelly. So food safety is probably one of it is the number one priority here. That's why I'm wearing a funny toboggan. I sure don't want to end up getting a hair in our jelly, so wear a toboggan in place of a hairnet. What I'm doing now is simply putting a coffee filter down inside the funnel here, and then using water to help hold it. So we'll drain off the water, and then we'll take it over and put it in our pot, like so. I use this to help hold it. And then we'll pour our apple juice down through there so it can filter it out. So we take our apple juice, cider, whichever you subscribe to, and according to the sugar gel recipe, it requires 7 cups. So we'll simply fill it up. There's 2 cups. Pour it into our funnel. And that coffee filter is filtering out any little impurities or any apple chunks or anything that might still be in the cider. Okay, now that we have filtered all of our apple juice, make sure that we pull the coffee filter out in such a way that we take a chance of recontaminating the juice there with chunks and particles. Simply remove our strainer and open up our sugar gel packet. There's instructions in here, of course, for different recipes. Those of you who have made jelly before, I'm sure well aware of that. We want to add our pectin. So a whole packet for one batch. And of course we want to simply stir that pectin so that it gets in the apple juice real well. Okay, to prevent foaming or help eliminate a lot of foaming, notice the foam film that develops on top of the jelly in the jars there. We're going to add butter. So we don't need a lot of butter, just enough to kind of make a presentation there. You don't want a buttery taste in your jelly, so just a pat butter there. That's all you need. Just put that in there, of course. And then continue to stir. You want to make sure that you stir this as it cooks, or it can burn, give your jelly a somewhat of a burnt taste. So make sure you stir that till it comes to a rolling boil. Once it comes to a rolling boil, then you'll add your sugar. Okay, so we'll let that cook as we prepare our sugar. Okay, my advice with sugar is sugar, and find the cheapest sugar that you can find and buy as much as you can find at one time. That's usually the cheapest. So the sugar gel recipe for this particular jelly calls for 9 cups of sugar, which is amazing. A lot of sugar. So level that off first. Pour that in there. And then I go ahead and stir it so that you don't get a lot of lumps and clumps that you got to fight down. And of course, it completely kills your boil. which is fine, because you're going to want to let this cook until it starts to boil again, and then on a rolling hard boil for 1 minute, and then turn the fire off. And you'll notice too that it starts to get clearer as the sugar melts into the apple juice. Okay, so let's add the rest of our sugar, and we will be ready to load our jars. Okay, looks like that our jelly has come to full boil there. It's boiled for over a minute. So we'll go ahead and cut the flame off to it. We've boiled and prepared our lids, which will soften the seals so they'll seal more readily. Anytime that I fill jelly jars, I always like to use a jelly funnel, and it's just another good way to keep from getting burnt. And I use a very deep ladle. It's just easier to control the jelly as you're pouring it, because remember, it was boiling just a few seconds ago. It is very hot. So we'll simply fill the jar. I like to get it as full as I can. I think it also helps seal the lid if you do that. So we'll fill it all the way to the little line on the inside of that jelly funnel. Then we'll set it here, a steady surface, remove the funnel, and then simply take a clean dish rag. You want it clean. You don't want to introduce any germs, bacteria, into your jelly. And see, with the butter you don't get as much film. And then add a boiled lid. So add the lid and a ring. Tighten it. Wipe any excess jelly that might have come down the side of the jar there. It's good to go. So in about 20-30 minutes, you'll start to hear the lids pop and seal. You see how clear? And that's a product of the filtration there with the coffee filter. We don't want any solid particles in that jelly at all. So it makes its presentations better. Okay, well, thanks so much for tuning in on this episode. McClung Farms, where we will crush and juice anything that's edible. Thanks.